Okay, 2025 is coming to a close, and I've been looking back on the events of the year, and I thought it might be fun to make a list of the best Street Fighter 6 players in the world, and maybe talk a little bit about what I think makes all of these players so strong. As always, if you guys enjoy the video, please remember to hit subscribe. I've got big things planned in 2026, and if you don't want to miss out on them, then press that big old button down there, and let's get into it. Alright, so I narrowed this down to my top 5 players in the world, and for that I spent some time reviewing both results and actual match footage, but I do need to make a couple of disclaimers up front. Number one, this is just my opinion. You might have a completely different list, and that's fine too. And number two, there are a ton of players who could have easily been swapped into this list. I had to make some tough judgment calls. But just because someone isn't here doesn't mean that they aren't easily contenders for the top spots. Some honorable mentions up front to Punk, Ending Walker, Kakeru, NuckleDu, Angry Bird. You know, this was a really hard list to make, so keep that in mind. Anyway, so I'm going to do this in reverse order, counting down from my number 5 and ending with who I think is the best SF6 player in the world right now. So, starting at number 5, we have Sahara. This is Sahara. So Sahara, I think, is one of those players where if you keep up with competitive Street Fighter 6, then this pick probably makes perfect sense. But if you only lightly follow the game competitively, you might not even know about Sahara. But just to catch you guys up to speed, Sahara is a Japanese ed player. He plays for Good 8 Squad alongside Kawano, Pugera, and Gachikun, and his results this year have been really incredible. So, as you can see here, Sahara qualified for Capcom Cup back in September by winning the UFA Premier, and along the way he beat Kings Vega, he beat Nephew, he beat Noah the Prodigy, Koji Kog, Just the Kid, Valmaster, whole bunch of pro players. But where I think things get really interesting is what happened after this. So for most people, when they qualify for Capcom Cup, a lot of people don't really bother entering the World Warriors after that, since there's not really much prize money and they can't enter the regional finals if they're already qualified for the Capcom Cup. But Sahara decided to continue competing in the World Warriors despite already being qualified, and his results in the Japan World Warriors have been insane. So right after qualifying for Capcom Cup, Sahara got 7th place in the following World Warrior. Then in the one after that, he won the whole thing. And then in the 4th World Warrior, he won the whole thing again. And just to put into perspective how insane this is, the 2nd World Warrior, number 2, had 1,731 entrants. The 3rd had 1,468, and the 4th had 1,253 entrants. So Japan's World Warriors aren't like other regions. They are basically online super majors. It's like a mini Evo Japan happening multiple times in a row. Like, you look at these brackets and it's just absolute monsters the entire way through. So he beat Kawano 2 sets in grand finals because he was in losers. He beat Kincho, he beat Karo, and then before that he beat Otani. Before that he had to beat Sako. Before that, just in top 128, he had to beat Takedo, which he won 2-0. So, like, even in top 64, some of the best players in the world are dropping like flies in this bracket. It's insane. Even if Sahara hadn't already qualified for Capcom Cup, as you can see right here, he would still be at the top of the Japan CPT leaderboard by a huge margin, right? So he's already qualified, but even if he wasn't, he is 50 points ahead of Dogura in 2nd. So in terms of Sahara's actual gameplay, I think the UFA Grand Finals is a good match to point at. And just before we even look at the match, just look at these time codes. So this is Grand Finals. The match starts at around the 45-second mark, and the set is over at... Wait, who is that guy? Who is that guy right there? Who is this loser? Get off the stage, you bum. The match finishes at 8 minutes 30. Like, this might be one of the fastest grand final sets in history. I think it might have been 6 rounds straight. Let me just double check that. Was it 6 rounds straight? This was 2-0? Yeah. It was 6 rounds straight. And I think Sahara's biggest strength as a player, in my opinion, is his lightning fast decision making. And to show that, I want to highlight one interaction from this set real quick.
of exposure down below against Kings Vega. Hopefully we don't see another 3-0 from the way we saw it in winners finals, but damn, it might just be both the burnout and the
that. So I just want to break down that sequence because it's actually insanely good decision making, all happening in the space of like 2 seconds. You kind of blink and you miss it, but
hopefully we don't see another.
Okay, so Kings Vega gets the crouch medium punch drive rush, and he does a hop cancel, and the purpose of this is hop is supposed to bait DP. He's trying to bait out a DP on the drive rush, but Sahara doesn't fall for it. He completely skips the mix-up. Sahara also realizes right afterwards that he can go in to try and pressure Blanka after this kind of like scramble, and he takes a little micro step forward here, and then he takes a micro step backwards after that, because he decides that it's actually a little bit too risky to go in on Blanka in this scramble, and it works out perfectly. So he steps forward and then backward, baits out the whiffed stand heavy kick, gets the punish counter with Ed's crouch heavy kick, and then starts charging the flicker on hit. So he actually breaks his own combo here, realizes that this is probably going to elicit a parry from Kings Vega, because Kings Vega notices that his drive is low, and that flicker could potentially be a burnout situation. So Kings Vega panic parries, and Sahara does the dash cancel and punishes the parry with a throw for burnout. So like, it's easy to miss, but in the space of like 1 second, Sahara made like 5 perfect decisions, both offensively and defensively. Like every single one of those plays was like perfectly optimal in such a short period of time, which is really hard to do. So yeah, my number 5 spot goes to Sahara. Let's move on. Now, I have to say up front, my number 4 and my number 3 were extremely hard to put in order. I did have to pick one in the end, but I do need to say that my number 4 and my number 3 could have gone in either order, so keep that in mind. But number 4 goes to Xiaohai. I don't think Xiaohai really needs an introduction here. Not just one of the greatest Street Fighter players of all time, but strong contender for the greatest fighting game player of all time. Just purely on results this year. So he won a bunch of the China World Warriors. He got a bunch of first place finishes in China. He got 5th place at EVO, and probably his biggest SF6 result of the year was a huge EWC win, which is this one. I think it's worth highlighting his route through the EWC bracket, because this is one of the most insane runs ever, and it's easy to forget. He beat Punk game 1, then he beat Kakeru, then he beat Torimeshi, then he beat Goichi, then he beat Angry Bird, and then he beat Blaz. I think what's even more amazing is that all of these were long sets. The EWC format is first to 5 once it gets down to the elimination phase. So 5-2 over Torimeshi, 5-2 over Goichi, 5-1 over Angry Bird, that's a crazy run. And I think what really sort of like tips the scale for Xiaohai is that he is the only player on my list for today's video who isn't solely focused on Street Fighter 6. So I had to scroll all the way down to the bottom of his Wikipedia page just to find the Street Fighter 6 section. As well as being this goddamn good at Street Fighter 6, in the same year as all of these results, he was also competing in City of the Wolves, where he won CEO, came second at EWC, he won EVO France, he won the SNK Championship Finals, he got 4th in the SWC. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. So as well as that, as well as being GOATed in Street Fighter 6 and Fatal Fury, he was also competing in King of Fighters 15, where as you can see here, 2nd and 1st in SWC qualifiers, 5th in the finals, and then 2nd in the SWC finals. That was $150,000 for 2nd place. I just want to put this into perspective real quick to highlight how ridiculous this is. So, for most of 2025, Xiaohai was sponsored by Kuaishou Gaming. And after the Esports World Cup was over, Kuaishou Gaming, as you can see here, finished in 9th place in the club championships, which won them, I believe, $700,000 as a team. Now, the rest of all of these teams up here, like Falcons, Liquid, Vitality, etc., all of these teams have like hundreds of pro players competing in dozens of different esports titles, trying to get points on this leaderboard. The 1,750 points that KSG secured to get 9th on the total leaderboard was 750 points from Fatal Fury, which came from Xiaohai, and 1,000 points from Street Fighter 6, which came from Xiaohai. This was all Xiaohai. It was only Xiaohai. He literally soloed his way into the global club leaderboard, hard carrying. It's ridiculous. So I think in terms of highlighting like Xiaohai's gameplay, obviously we all know how good Xiaohai is, but I think for me, what is like Xiaohai's unique strength among these players is Xiaohai's decades of experience allows him to stay calm and cool and collected in high stakes environments because he's done it so many times. And I think the best example of how Xiaohai does not crack is his grand finals set against Blaz. So I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but just to give you guys a quick rundown, Blaz rapidly went 3-0 up in this first to 5. Xiaohai started out with Bison. He switched to Mai, and then it became much more even, and then Blaz switched to Ken, and they started going back and forth until it went to 4-4. So Xiaohai managed to bring it all the way back from 3-0 down to 4-4, which is huge to begin with. Then Xiaohai wins a round. So now Xiaohai is 1 round away from winning hundreds of thousands of dollars, and this happens.
Uh-oh. One more sequence closer, yipes.
Oh my God, 2 meters on the side of blocks. He could react to these drive impacts, but I don't think Xiaohai's gonna give it to him. And he's touching grass again on the drive gate. And there is the shimmy. Is this it for the finish? No!
You thought I was going to show off a highlight? What I want to focus on about Xiaohai is actually what went wrong here.
Touching grass again on the
Xiaohai gets the shimmy. Basically, any simple B&B will kill in this position. He lands the shimmy and then completely fumbles the combo.
and there is the shimmy. Is this it?
He tries to do a really weird combo that he's obviously like throwing together on the fly. Not only does the combo not kill, but he actually drops it and gives Blaz a punish. And the reason that I want to highlight this is because Blaz actually went on to win this round. You give Blaz an inch and he takes a mile.
Xiaohai is early burnout. Oh my God, I know his heart is pumping right now. He got me to think about it. Throw Loose City, the meaty fireball into the drive. Impact immediately. Blaz adds one to the board. As long as he don't drop this.
So all it took was one small mistake from Xiaohai. Blaz immediately capitalizes and manages to drag it to a final round. And why I think Xiaohai is such an experienced player is because almost anyone else in the world would crumble. If they came within like inches of winning hundreds of thousands of dollars, they landed the game-winning hit, they just had to finish the combo, and they fumbled it and then lose the round. Almost anyone else would crumble in that situation. But the reason that I think Xiaohai deserves his credit in this situation is that even after that fumble, it does not faze him at all.
Important first strike.
He plays the final round as if nothing's happened. It's just another day at work, you know? For you, the day that you lost Grand Finals was the most important day of your life. For Xiaohai, it was Tuesday.
Trying to stay out of that low 4 range and stand fierce. That's how you see it. He's waiting for it.
Yeah, the next hit is going to be so impactful, right? With 3 bars just about lingering on both ends. As long as it's a clean hit into a DRC, you know they're going to have full advantage. That's 1. Blaz, how do you continue on after?
Also, this DP was ridiculous. I think he rips a DP like here. You have to be so confident in your reads to rip that DP.
The trade on his side. Is he going to do the immediate level 3? And is it enough? Is the question.
Yeah.
The survey says
$300,000 DP.
Repeated champion. What's it going to be? There you have it.
And Xiaohai wins EWC and a huge amount of money. So I think it's really important to talk about how, like, pro players make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. And I think it's so much more important to talk about not just clean play, but also the ways that players can recover from potentially disastrous mistakes. There are pro players who can play well, but I think the real great players are the ones who can make mistakes and then just effortlessly recover from it. It's so hard to do. Anyway, let's move on to number 3 on my list. And conveniently, number 3 is already on the screen. So my number 3 spot goes to the young prodigy, Blaz. Blaz started this year by stunning the world with his generational Capcom Cup run. So he made it all the way to grand finals and finished in second place against Kakeru, and he was 15 years old at the time. It's also worth mentioning, because I feel like people have forgotten this by now, this Capcom Cup happened on the previous balance patch. So keep in mind, this was before Ryu turned Super Saiyan. So the thing with Blaz is that I think he's kind of still hunting for that big Evo or Capcom Cup first place win, which I'm sure he'll get eventually. But what's really impressed me is his consistency for such a young player. So if you look at these results, he has won every single one of his World Warriors. The South America East, first place, first place, first place, first place, first place. He won all 5 of them. He also got second place at Evo France, second at EWC, as we just saw. He got third at UFA, and he got 5th at Combo Breaker. And I think one thing that really surprised a lot of people was Blaz's character switch in the second half of the year. So despite Ryu getting buffed to the moon, Blaz has actually been moving away from Ryu and has mostly been playing Sagat for the last few months. And his Sagat has also been getting some huge wins. I just want to say thank you to whoever made this spreadsheet, because retrieving SFL match data turned out to be a very annoying process. So I can't remember who made this, but thank you. So at the recent Street Fighter League NA, Blaz finally got his run back against Xiaohai. This time he was using Sagat, and he won their first match 3-1 over Xiaohai, and then 2-3 in the rematch. So Xiaohai and Blaz are very evenly matched, which is why I said that, like, you could put them in any order. Right after that, Blaz went on to beat DCQ, he beat Crossover, he beat NL, Psycho, Kaba, Chris Wong, Dual Kevin, and Punk, before eventually dropping to Psycho in the semifinals run back. And to highlight Blaz's gameplay, I actually want to talk about a moment from my own match against Blaz at Capcom Cup. So I think it's really illustrative of how much work he puts in.
Don't catch that. Ah! Go for the super just yet.
Oh, yeah, you had to slide out of that, chasing it down, both in burn.
This. To explain this interaction,
Just yet.
I throw a fireball with Aki, and Blaz jumps correctly on the fireball. But one thing Aki can do as a failsafe against jump punishes on her fireball is that you can cancel the recovery into EX slide, which I do here. I notice this jumping is going to kill me, so unfortunately I have to go into burnout to try and escape the situation. But Blaz instantly reacts to the escape attempt and does drive rush in the opposite direction into a throw. Now, I have played World Champions, I have played Evo Champions, I have played Capcom Cup Champions, and none of them are doing this. This is a thing that even a lot of the best players in the world are not integrating into their game. And it's not even the only time he does it in this set, so... Same scenario again. He unfortunately just barely whiffs on the throw. But same exact scenario. I have to try an EX slide to escape the jump in. He drive rushes and just barely whiffs the throw. But it's the exact same interaction a second time. It kind of pisses me off when people say stuff like, oh, these dang Zoomers being carried by Ryu. Because, number one, Blaz was playing Ryu before he got buffed. And number two, Blaz has done far more homework and matchup study than almost any other pro player. This kind of matchup awareness is something that people who've been playing for like 20 years still aren't doing. He has worked so much harder on matchup specific interactions like this than people give him credit for. So yeah, that's Blaz at number 3. Let's move on to my number 2 spot. And at number 2, we have LeGoat. It's LeShar. So I mentioned how one thing I'm always impressed by from Blaz is his consistency, because Street Fighter 6 is such a wildly explosive game. It's unbelievably hard to be consistent at a pro level in this game. But if we want to talk about consistency, then LeShar might be the final boss. So, this is crazy. This result spread is ridiculous. So, LeShar entered 7 Capcom Pro Tour events this year, and he made top 8 in every single one of them. So he got 3rd at Capcom Cup, then he got 5th at Evo Japan, he won Combo Breaker, he won CEO, he got 7th at Evo, 3rd at EWC, and then won Evo France. This is levels of consistency that were previously thought unreachable. The thing about Leshurr is that he's quite an understated person, you know. He doesn't go up on stage and make big speeches or pop-offs or any of that stuff. He just kind of politely shows up, bodies everyone, and then leaves with a smile on his face, you know? He lets his gameplay do the talking, I think. Now, it's not just Capcom Pro Tour. I have to go back to the SFL stuff. So, Leshurr has also been on an absolutely insane run in Street Fighter League Japan. To this day, Leshurr is still the only non-Japanese player that has been invited to join the JP League. And in the current season, which is still ongoing, he beat Akira, YHC Mochi, John Takeuchi, Yanai, Aqua, Mago, Torimeshi, and Adeli. So far, the only person that Leshurr has lost to in the entire SFL season is Momochi. Other than that, no one has been able to beat him. And the thing I want to highlight about Leshurr is his inhuman reactions and situational awareness. So, this is just a clip from a couple days ago from the Topanga exhibition matches.
なるほど。
強気。まあ孫さんがもうドライブゲージないんで、そんな守れない、攻めれないだろうってことで。
うまい。ここでもしっかりと回している。
映えるね。
So Leshurr is in burnout. He's pressuring Mago in the corner.
なるほど。
He's just poking safely from a distance and just harassing with normals. The moment that Mago tries to break out with a DI, he does crouch light kick and instantly cancels it into level 1 to break the DI. Now, this kind of interaction is a thing that a lot of top players can do from time to time. But the thing about Leshurr, and what really sets him apart for me, is that he does this stuff constantly. If you guys watch Leshurr gameplay, I recommend keeping count of the amount of times he somehow manages to single hit confirm Ed's crouch light kick. Like, it is absolutely unreal. He makes it look like he has like a 13 frame reaction time, which I don't think it is pure reactions. I think it's a mix of reactions, reads, and buffers, but no one else does these kinds of things as often and as consistently as Leshurr. Yeah, sometimes he even confirms crouch light kick into DP. It's mind-blowing. Okay, it's time for the final one. The big #1 spot, in my opinion, the best Street Fighter 6 player in the world right now. And based on the previous 4, you've probably figured out where this is going by now, but it's worth saying regardless. My #1 player of the year is... it's Mena. Of course it's Mena. What else was it gonna be? Daigo robbed? Sorry, Daigo. Maybe 2026 will be your year. I mean, you know, what is there to say at this point? Evo champion and Evo Japan champion in the same year. Mena also won Street Fighter League NA. He won every single exhibition match in his Japan trip. Mena is the only person on the planet to have won the full triumvirate of Evo, Capcom Cup, and Street Fighter League. And the thing about Mena is his offensive and defensive reads are, I think, just completely unmatched over anyone else in the world. And I think the most important match to watch to really understand this is his Evo Grand Finals set against Kakeru. It's worth setting the stage on this one. So if you guys don't know, this was Kakeru at like the absolute height of his power. Up until this point in the bracket, Kakeru looked absolutely untouchable and untiltable. It seemed like Kakeru was completely unfazed and 100% confident in all of his decision making. And you know, we talked earlier about the very fast set Sahara had in Grand Finals? Look at this one. This is Evo Grand Finals. The entire video is 7 minutes and 14 seconds. And 2 minutes of that is celebrations. This whole set, this Evo Grand Finals, played out in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I want to talk about this situation right here, because I think this speaks to Mena more than Mena can actually speak for himself. This round.
The panic is coming, and he just senses with the right choices. He tells when your fear is there, and you can just make the perfect response.
Breaking down all the defensive options against Kakaru, going for the immediate level 3, right?
Did you see it? This might not be obvious. This is incredibly uncharacteristic from Kakaru.
When your fear is
Kakaru lands the opening hit, he gets crouch medium punch drive rush, he finishes the JP combo, and then he level 3s. On the very first hit of the round, he level 3s. This is such a weird level 3, and to me, this level 3 is Kakaru basically saying, I need to get any damage on the board that I can. This might look like, wow, he's doing a cool combo, but the message that Kakaru is sending by dumping a level 3 here on the very first hit of the round is, I desperately need to get any damage I can because I'm just not confident that I can win this round. This shows how terrifying Mena is when you're dropping level 3s in this scenario. And you can see what happens. Watch what happens after this level 3. He gets the level 3, but he's not able to inflict much drive gauge damage. Mena escapes the corner, and then it begins.
Level 3 is intact. He's gonna punish the hell out of that Amnesia. You thought I forgot? Not today. Back medium kick to catch the side switch. Lightning Beast engaged. How do you stop this man while you're in burnout? Answer is, you probably can.
And there it is.
The drive impact. Here comes the fella.
Oh, this combo was really cool.
He's got more on the table, the up ball.
Oh my god. That whole sequence was really cool. Like just to highlight that whole sequence from start to finish. So after Mena escapes the corner with a huge life deficit, he managed to land a jump in. Then he successfully reads the EX Amnesia, gets the full punish, combos into DI, takes the drive gauge damage as a priority over the actual combo damage. He goes for the throw, and then successfully option selects the jump out the corner, anti-airs with back medium kick, and gets the side switch, which I talked about recently. Gets the stand fierce, activates level 2, and now it's pretty much GG. Kakaru's level 3, this is a good thing to point out. Kakaru's level 3 at the start of the round is currently biting him so badly, because now he has 0 bars of super, he's in burnout, he's in the corner against one of the best level 2s in the game, and it's just pretty much over at this point. And this combo is really cool.
He gets a combo after this as well. He's got more on the table, the up ball.
Very
EX
cool
for the
combo.
kill. Mena RD.
Mena, he's just one of those players that he just feels like he always knows what his opponent is going to do on wake up. Like you can chalk Street Fighter 6 offense up to like, you know, throw versus shimmy, but Mena just seems to get inside his opponent's head and he just always seems to know what they're thinking. And I almost feel like the better his opponent is, the better his reads are. Like I feel like Mena's power level actually scales up with his opponent, where like if he's playing another player that's like a potential top 5 in the world player, he almost understands their mindset even better and seems to play even more confidently. It was very similar when he played against Punk at Street Fighter League. So, there you have it. It's been a great year of high-level Street Fighter. That's my top 5. I just want to say at the end of the video, thanks for watching all my videos this year. 2025 has been a fun year for me. I'm looking forward to making more videos in 2026. Hope you guys all have a great new year, and I will see you all in the next video.